the question you asked, and I hope the audience remembers the question, is one of the best questions I've ever been asked, and it's a real stumper.
I'm
And
very
tell
excited
me,
today to be speaking with David Clennon, one of the stars of Lars Shrike Walks the Night. David, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
it's a pleasure, Steve.
It
I
is.
think it'll be a pleasure.
I make no promises. There are no guarantees on our podcast.
You said it's going to be a great show. I'm holding you to it.
I mean, it takes two to dance here, so I need you to help me out. Uh,
Okay, you teach me the steps, and I'll try I'll try to follow.
all right. Well, I'm already very happy. Let's tango through Laurie Shrike Walks the Night, which I fell in love with. I really did. And it is just it's so fascinating. By the time the film wraps, it's asked some massive questions. But what excited you to be a part of the film?
Well, I've done, I think, three films or four, maybe, with the director, Gary Walco, who is a true original. He he's a PhD in eccentricity. He the things that he does are they seem to be off the wall, and yet there it makes you think and think in your mind a wacky, delightful film like Lars Shrike Walks the Night comes together somehow. I don't know how he does it. So I've worked with him before, and my first film with Gary Walco was called The Trouble with Dick, and that opened in 1985. And I want your audience to know that Lars Shrike Walks the Night is it's a standalone film. It stands by itself, but I think it's more fun if you can find The Trouble with Dick and watch that, because things there are things spin off from The Trouble with Dick. And for example, um, in Lars Shrike Walks the Night, Kelsey Grammer plays an older version of me. In The Trouble with Dick, I am Lars Shrike. And the main character of The Trouble with Dick is a struggling writer. He has writer's block and his life is falling apart. And he's trying to write a science fiction novel with me as the central character. 41 years later, you have Kelsey Grammer as the older Lars Shrike, who doubts his existence, who doesn't understand where he came from, and he learns eventually in a beautiful scene in a library in a little town in Southern California, he learns that he is a character in someone's novel, and he decides that I don't want to give too much away. I think I should shut up, Steve, and you should ask another question.
Hi. I'm loving where this is going though, because I didn't realize that there was this connection to Trouble with Dick. And that is a very interesting position that you find yourself in because your role is different in this one, of course, as Richard
Yes.
Kendred.
Yes.
What was that like, sort of revisiting a spiritual sequel, if you will, not to put too fine a point on it, then
Yeah.
that way.
I, I just love that term, spiritual sequel. I'm gonna file that away because it's a pretty good description of Lars Shrike Walks the Night. It's a spiritual sequel to another film, and you don't have to see the earlier film, but if you do see it, it just makes Lars Shrike Walks the Night more fun, I think. So I'm going to steal that phrase, spiritual sequel, and then I'm
I'd
going
like
to
to claim
ask.
it. I didn't come up with it. I feel like I need to say that. I can't claim ownership of it, but you can have it.
Okay, and I'm going to pretend that I came up with it myself. But you're such an honest man. You're really an honest guy, Steve. Be careful. You may not make it in show business. You're not supposed to be that honest. Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And now I have to ask you a question. What was your question?
Well, what was it? I mean, these worlds, like we said, they're very it is a spiritual sequel. They're individual films, but I was like, what was it like for you to step into the world from a different perspective in that sense, this idea?
I would like to say that I was aware of the profound nature of having a famous television actor like Kelsey Grammer recreate a character that I had played earlier, while I assumed the role of the writer who created Kelsey Grammer's character.
Working you This is great that you brought up working with Kelsey, though. I would love to know what that conversation was like because you two have a fabulous scene together. And it's just wonderful to see the two of you play off each other.
Well, it was a pleasure to work with Kelsey. But you have to remember that I'm an old man struggling to remember my lines and struggling to be present in the scene on camera with Kelsey. And I got a lot of uh, energy or inspiration from watching him, listening to him, and then, as it were, hitting the ball back to him. So if we're playing ping pong, he hits the ball to me and I hit the ball back to him, depending on where he hit it to me. So and that's the way I try to play scenes like it's a game of ping pong, and the other character, the other actor hits the ball to me. I don't know how he's going to hit it, and once he does, I have to respond to that. And so I thought we played well together, and but it was my first and scene in the movie. So here I am, an actor trying to remember his lines, playing his first scene in the movie, the first time with the main character, and so uh, it's a bit of a rope, and it's not always. I'm not always thinking about what is the meaning of the scene we're doing. It's more about can I hit my mark and can I remember my line?
Hmm.
Isn't that exciting? That's the life of an actor. Can you hit your mark on camera and can you remember your next line?
Well, I can tell you, having seen it, the two of you work really beautifully together, and I mean that genuinely. There's a sweetness and a tension at the same time between you two. Um, Maybe can you tell me about Richard Kendred, the character of Richard Kendred? What do you think is his biggest struggle?
I think his biggest struggle is to move forward with whatever he's writing, because he gets an idea and he tries to work it out, and he inside he's blocked. He finds that he can't move forward, and he even tells Lars Shrike that I didn't finish your story. I couldn't work it out. And uh, and he finally finds a solution to the dilemma of Lars Shrike's story. But I even think that Gary Walco, our director, writer, is fools Richard Kendred again, because Richard writes what he thinks is the end of Lars' story. And this happens at the end of our film, just as he's met Lars Shrike. He finally tells Lars, I couldn't finish your story. You, I got blocked. And then he does finish the story, but there's another trick behind that moment, and I don't want to give that away. But you asked about Richard Kendred, and I think he's a man who has great ideas about novels, and he has trouble executing those ideas. And that goes back to the other film, The Trouble with Dick, which people don't have to see to enjoy Lars Shrike Walks the Night. But there are some lovely little tip-offs in the earlier film to what's happening in this film. So you don't need to see the early one. This is a standalone film, Lars Shrike Walks the Night. But it's kind of fun because the Gary Walco universe sometimes spills over from one film to another.
Well, I have not seen The Trouble with Dick, but you've actually made me want to revisit it. So this is intriguing because I want to see the relationship with this film. Um, uh,
Let me warn you that it may be hard to find. I don't know if it's streaming on any of the major streaming services, or whether it might exist in a fuzzy form on YouTube.
mm,
Maybe somebody has posted it on YouTube, but it might be difficult to find.
that's fair. That's fair. Uh, um, David, I see we're starting to run out of time here, which I'm sad about because I love our conversation. But I thought I would ask you a question that I did have the chance to ask Kelsey, and I wanted to ask it to you as well. If you had the chance to ask the author of your story a question, what would it be?
How can I do this right?
Hmm.
Take me take me through this scene, because this scene is part of a much larger world. Tell me how I should perform this scene so that the audience will accept me as the character I'm playing. They won't think of me as an actor. They'll just watch this character. He's one of many people in this story.
We're back again.
So, Steve,
Yeah.
we were just interrupted, but I wanted to say that you asked one of the best questions I've ever. You've asked a lot of good questions, but the one you just asked is one of the best I've ever had to try to answer. And I hope we had a Zoom glitch here.
We're back.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that the question you asked, and I hope the audience remembers the question, is one of the best questions I've ever been asked, and it's a real stumper. And I was faking the answer, because it was so challenging. The question
Mm,
is so interesting and so challenging about what I would, I think if I remember correctly, you said, what would I ask the creator
Mm.
of this project? Um, what would I ask of that creator? And it was such a deep question that that I just started rambling and struggling to make sense of it and to make sense of an answer. And I don't think that my answer was as good as the question.
Mm.
So it goes pretty deep for for an actor to come to grips with a question like that. It's so whatever I said, um, take it with a grain of salt. And I've enjoyed this conversation, so you'll have to bring me back and
Anytime.
wrestle with that question again.
Anytime. Honestly, David, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for the chance to chat. And as I said, I do love the film, but I very much appreciate our conversation as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a great day.
You too. Be well.
Thanks. Bye bye.